I'm Ben.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Ben and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
All right, up next is DJ River. Song chosen for the stream is Dog Fashion Discos.
Courtney's the one who got away. Yeah, she got away. Bless God. God bless me with that. Okay, Dog Fashion Disco. This was my boy Ben Webb. Ben Webb is a big Dog Fashion Disco guy. So this should be interesting. Shout out to Ben Webb. Dog Fashion Disco. What's the name of the song?
The Sacrifice of Miss Rose Covington. You've done a few songs by DFD and Polka Dot Cadaver, the band that was formed from members of DFD, War Party, Sidhus, and Gasoline, Enema, Bend, and Light. DFD are from Maryland, and this song is off their album Adultery, was one of the first I heard by the band. And I swear this is true, someone who was delivering pizza to my house asked me if I liked metal and handed me a copy of the album. This is off. I lost the CD eventually, but luckily was able to find the band again after years of searching online. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, well, let's check it out.
Okay, here we go, guys. Dog Fashion Disco. Holy smokes. Ben is missing. Ben didn't think we were shooting today, so he didn't show up, that bum. Shout out to Ben Webb, though. I love the homie. Here we go. Dog Fashion Disco. Dog Fashion Disco. Let's do this shit. It's host. Riff is hard though. There's a song called "By Demons Be Driven." I don't know who does that. Oh wait, we still in the song?
Yeah.
I think you're right. You're right. I've got some setting on YouTube. It's on repeat.
Yeah.
Okay, that was Dog Fashion Disco.
Right.
Somebody said it's like horror
Yeah.
metal and things of that nature. So I guess like this is they sacrifice this girl or something. Is that what happened?
Okay.
I'm following this dude on Twitter, and I usually don't do this, and I'm not gonna name the thingamajiggy, but the dude talks about like these. I read one to you about the kidnapping and the girl and all that. Then the kid got adopted, and then the guy found the kid and kidnapped him. Like, I generally don't like follow those because they're almost like glorifying the death or whatever and celebrating it. But this particular one, it doesn't do that. It just tells you like what happened. But I don't know how to explain it, not in a glorifying way. And so if something like this actually happened, it would end up on that Twitter thingamajiggy. And it's just crazy. But
you could wash away all the sins you've made to this day.
It just sounds like something I would find on that Twitter account. It's pretty crazy.
The last rites could be given to you because no one is innocent and no one will be spared. Smile at the beauty of your poisonous possession as you're burning alive and hanging from the cross so high. You look so pretty now. The sacrifice for all humanity. Smoke and ash. I'm choking on you.
Okay, this record is meant to be loosely telling the story of a private detective.
Oh.
So maybe he's like looking into like all the shit these crazy people are doing because he's on a case and he's stumbled upon this crazy cult that sacrificed this woman. What's her name? Rose. What's her name?
Covington?
The sacrifice of Miss Rose Covington. It's really fascinating how they start the song. If you could wash away all the sins you've made to this day, the last rites could be given you. Because no one is innocent and no one will be smeared. Smile at the beauty of your poisonous possession. So this woman gets sacrificed for the sins of people, which is and she gets sacrificed in a very sacrilegious way. Obviously, she's burning on a cross, which is actually goes back more to Nero, when Nero used to put Christians on cross and then set them on fire.
You look so pretty now. Ooh.
What's fascinating, though, is that you look extremely troubled, but you have sung probably thousands of times in your life about Jesus on the cross.
Yeah, but that's Jesus.
You're saying that because you're a Christian, but I look at this song and I'm like, I can imagine somebody coming to church and being like, especially in the first century, and being like, wait a second, you're singing about a guy that got crucified? You're singing about that. I mean, you're literally singing about being washed in the blood of the Lamb.
Yeah.
My point is, like, Christians don't realize the cultic nature of their religion, and I don't mean cultic in the sociological sense. I mean cultic in the theological sense. So if you read, I just have to say this: if you read scholarly works, like for example, the Temple and Churches Mission, the G.K. Beale, where he's got that addendum to Revelation 21 and 22, where he sees, what does he say, a temple in a city that's garden like, whatever. Okay, but if you read any scholarly work about the Bible, about Christianity, particularly as it relates to the Old Testament, the word cult is used, and it's not the common use of cult, which is a sociological group that takes you away from your family and all that. What it's specifically talking about are the specific religious practices that are distinctives of that religious group. So when you talk about the Israelite cult, you're talking about the Levitical priesthood, that entire sacrificial system and all that. And so the Israelite cult was it was centered around blood, centered around blood atonement and all the rest of it. And so that then gets transferred, all that cultic imagery gets transferred to Jesus on the cross for Christians.
Yeah.
So if you're born and raised in a Christian sort of ideology from birth, you don't realize
how shocking some of the things that we believe are.
Well, the main thing is you worship a guy who was crucified, which is, I'll never forget, Marilyn Manson had this line. It said, "Dear God, can you come off that tree, meat in the shape of a T?" And he was meaning it, I guess, to be blasphemous or whatever, but it really, when you look at, what is Isaiah 52:8, he was beaten beyond human recognition. Like, what you saw on the cross, you would not be able to recognize as a human being. So if I was a Roman soldier and I just happened to walk by the body of a crucified Jesus and then, I don't know, come back to the city after a 40-day journey, and you're singing, and you're singing about a crucified person who is crucified naked, probably defecated on himself and beat beyond human recognition, is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
especially when it has its roots in a religion that's like, don't mix these cloths, don't eat this. This is unclean. Like,
right.
And then that's how your Messiah goes out. I mean, subhanallah.
Right. Like, so, like this, like it's really crazy. You're talking about being washed in the blood of the Lamb, and of course, we as Christians know what that means to be washed in the blood of the Lamb, but think about, I was watching some of these Mithraic cults where they would take a bull, and it was funny because I was studying Mithraism because it became very popular. Shout out to my atheist friends. It became very popular among internet atheists to say Christianity was copied from Mithraism, and so I had to look at. Of course, actually, it's the opposite, but whatever. So one of the things that they used to do is they had this bowl, and you would stand under the bowl, and they would rip it open, and you would be doused from head to toe in the blood of this bull. And so they were reenacting it on the History Channel and shit, and you just saw this very bloody individual. It's like, oh, this is disgusting. It's crazy. It's like, yo, that's the imagery, though.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just a really, like, songs like this, like, I don't know what they're meant to. I don't know if they're meant to be blasphemous. I don't know what they're meant to do. I don't know if a guy's just like, fuck, this is a crazy thing I saw. Let's just do it. Like, I don't know what it is, but I appreciate them because it kind of, I like seeing the aspects of our religion from a completely different angle, where you're kind of caught completely off guard, and you're like, yo, that's crazy what they're talking about. Like, they're about to kill this girl for the sins of other people. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is, So
I see what you're saying.
I see what you believe. That's what we believe. The only thing we could say about the song is that they did it to the wrong person.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And like, I love that. I love that. I love the griminess of it, because I'm like, yo, if it's real, it would have to be grimy and controversial and horrible, and that makes me feel like, actually, okay, I'm in good shape. Because how does a crazy religion like that get out of the first century? Because Romans, the Romans didn't have anything like that. The Romans weren't running around talking about being washed in the blood of Zeus and all this shit. Like, they didn't have that. Like, some of the shit that we brought was pretty extreme.
Yeah.
People were like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
They used to call us atheists because we didn't believe in their pantheon of gods. But the other thing they used to say is like that, like, these people are cannibals. They eat flesh and drink blood and all this. And obviously that's we're talking about communion and things like that. But if you're a Christian, you just have to understand, man, that the shit that we believe in is it's incredible.
Yeah, I remember when I was like a kid talking to my neighbor friends, and some of them had no like biblical understanding. And so like, yeah, you talked about some of these things and you could see it wasn't until I talked to them about some of the stuff that I didn't realize how outlandish some of the stuff sounds when you're first hearing it, especially, probably from the time that I was like 10 to 13, probably I was the most pushing, like wanting to make sure people understood about the Bible. And, so we would tell all those stories and you would see like the shock and like, what do you mean? That is so weird. And,
yeah.
And then you realize it, like, yeah, and one time I gave this, it's called the Jesus Storybook Bible. It's actually a really cool little Bible, but it basically shows you how every story connects itself to Jesus in the Bible. But it's a kid's thing, and again, I'm so used to being part of the religion that I didn't realize how shocking that book is. So like literally on the part where the death angel comes through, like you guys maybe have heard of, Pharaoh, the 10 plagues,
which I believe was Jesus. But go ahead.
And then the death angel comes through, and the only people that the death angel would like bypass are the ones that had the blood from the lamb that was over their doorpost. But like, it was like literally, I mean, this book is meant for kids, and really, even in the scripture, it talked about that they dipped, like I think it was hyssop, which is like a branch. They dip that, and then that's how they put the blood. But no, in this children's book, they decide that they're going to use handprints. So it's literally like a bloody handprint dripping down both sides of the door. And I literally, like I said, I never saw it. I gave this book to one of my friends who was not a Christian at all for her kid for the birthday. And the kid was like 5. She was like, hey, she's like, sorry, like, I really appreciate the book, but she's like, there was a lot of scary stuff in it. I was like, what are you talking about? There's scary stuff. She's like, like a bloody handprints and stuff. And my daughter was asking me about it. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then she showed it to me and I was horrified. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think was like C.S. Lewis's granddaughter or somebody like that wrote that book, the Storybook Bible.
It was great. The illustrations were a little.
Then they got mad at her because she was nice LGBT people.
Oh, well, that's that.
She said the LGBT people were human beings. That was the end of the Jesus Storybook Bible.
Seriously, that's what happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Shorty came. She was like a princess. Everybody loved her.
That ribbit was crazy.
I
was so apologetic, and then I made sure after that I like doctored the books.
Everybody loved her. As soon as Shorty said, "Well, yeah, I think they're actually human beings. We should love them."
She literally said that.
I mean,
oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, she was basically saying we should love them and not hate them and things like that. And you know how that shit goes in evangelicalism. Shout out to Shorty though. Yeah, like I'm in no way, shape, or form mad at the song. I'm sure the song to some degree was supposed to be provocative or something like that. But I think like I'm so happy about like how horrifying the song was because. There are horrifying elements to Christianity, and there should be. If what we're saying about human sinfulness is real, then the solution to that problem has to be horrific. If the Bible is saying that there's a Holocaust inside all of us, that's what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why I've been saying since day one on this channel. There's no difference between me and a German citizen in the 30s. None, other than time and grace. That's it. There's no difference. I'm that guy. Well, nobody wants to admit that about themselves. That's okay. I've seen enough of my own ugliness to admit that about myself. So like there's a lot of quote different theories on the atonement as to why Jesus had to die. And I think I never really understood why we had to like fight about it, the governmental versus the penal substitution versus Christus Victor. It's like, to me, there's millions of reasons that Jesus died. And one of them is to say, yeah, man, I can forgive you for anything you've done, but that's what it looks like. Like when people, we love to say that like the Gacy's and the Trumps or whatever, oh, they're horrible people. That's why like we have to have a bad guy so that we can like cleanse ourselves. Like, there's two ways to atonement. One is to look at your ugliness in the cross, and the other is to point out somebody else's ugliness. That's the only way. So there's only two ways to atone for your sin, or to deal with your imperfection, is to either look at a crucified Jesus and say, yeah, man, that's what your sin looks like. Or it's to look at another person and go, well, I'm not as bad as that guy. So the horror of the cross is designed to show you the horror of your own evil.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of the rejection, because I mean the cross is a good deal, man. You get to get off, basically you get to get away with murder. You get off scot-free. Somebody else took your penalty, but you have to admit that you're not better than them German people, and a lot of us don't want to admit that. We want to have whole classes of people that we're better than, and like, till the cross has to be horrific, because it's saying that horror is inside of all of us.
Yeah.
And so when people say crazy things about Jesus, like, people take Jesus' name in vain or whatever, like, it doesn't bother me. I always say to myself, like, because I know him, and I know it's not going to be that kind of energy when you see him, because I've had experiences where I'm like, there's a little scene in Lord of the Rings, like at the beginning, where Frodo's uncle, I don't know what the guy's name is, but the guy that first had the ring.
Somebody Baggins?
Yeah, Bilbo Baggins. And Gandalf is looking at him like, yo, what's going on with you, bro? And then Bilbo like starts getting fresh with Gandalf, and Gandalf is like, boy, you better. And like the room gets dark and shit, and it's like, it was one of those moments where it's like, yo, you can't fuck with Gandalf. Like, dude is like, he's a gangster. So when I hear people take Jesus' name in vain, that's how I feel. I'm like it doesn't offend me. Like these people, like, it doesn't offend me. I'm like, yo, you meet dude, okay, we'll see. You ain't gonna be on that shit when you see him. The only thing that still gets me to this day is when people like mock the cross. You mock the cross, that's when I'm like, I get hurt. But I'm hurt for you. Because I'm like, yo, if you speak against Christ, that's okay. The cross can cover that. But if you speak against the cross, you have no way of getting back to God. That's your only way back to God. So if the cross is a funny thing to you,
yeah,
then
it's not that you can't be forgiven for saying something about the cross. It's that when you're in the point where you are making fun of the cross, you're at a point where the cross is of no value to you.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
saying?
There's no way for you to come back after that. There's no if that's the point you're at. Like, there's a big difference to me between a guy who's never heard the message versus a person who is so hardened. Like, there's one particular individual, I'm like, yo, I'm never speaking to that person again in my life, bro.
Really?
And it's not because I'm mad at him. It's just I don't want to be around a person that is that hardened and that fucked up, because I don't want to get close to a person like that, because I'm never going to see them again. And I know, like, this shit is real for me.
Gosh.
This shit it's not my religion. It's not an ideology. Like, this shit actually happened in history. Like, this shit is real. So, like, if you're at the point where you're mocking that, like, first of all, as a human being, just in general, but like some of the like people, when you do that, like, I'm out with you. Like, I'm done with you, and it's not because I'm angry at you or like, how dare you do that, or this is so important to me. It's because I'm like, I don't want to be around a person that I feel like has no hope.
Wow.
And to me, if you get to that point where you're actually mocking Jesus Christ and specifically thinking about a specific person, like, you get to that point where you're mocking the cross, like, I'm done with you, bro. But it has nothing to, I'm not angry at you or whatever. Like, to me, I'm like a crazy, like, you know me, I'm like mad optimistic about a lot of people. But when I see something like that, like, it just kills all my optimism for that person. I'm like, yo, that person's done, bro. And I don't want to be around anybody that I feel like is finished. The last thing he said some dumb shit like, I don't want to go to heaven and be around all those people, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that shit. But yeah, like I said, man, people wow. That's the only thing. Like, if you want to end a relationship with me, just do that. For real. Just do that. Because, like I said, if you talk shit about Jesus, that's cool. Like, that's okay. Because, he's going to take care of you. But I still feel like, because Paul spoke words against Jesus, you can repent and blah, 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 blah. But, like, the cross is your only road to forgiveness. Like, there's no other way. And so if you reject that cross to that degree, you get in public and you reject the cross to that degree to where you're going to mock it, like, you're done. To me, God can still do whatever supernaturally with people, but I don't want to be. I don't like looking at people who I'm like, yo. I don't believe people burn forever. I don't believe that, but that still doesn't help.
Yeah.
As far as like where you're at, so I'm like, cool, man, go for it. Go for it. Go ahead.
I know. I'm just. I mean, I don't know. Like, if I agree with you on that. I mean, because the Bible
this
says,
is just me. I'm just talking about my own thing, and it's not like you know what I'm saying. Like, this
the
is
Bible
where I'm
says
at.
that that's the way to the Father is through Jesus. Like, that's the only way. But obviously, the way that Christ is the way to the Father is because of the cross. Like, he died on the cross, that brutal death, because all of us have done shit. We all have regrets. We all have horrible things that we've done and said and everything else. And so, like, literally the only way back is that somebody has to pay that penalty. And so Jesus is like, yo, I'm going to do that. And then he goes to the cross. So I hear what you're saying, that if a person is out there mocking the cross, that there is no sacrifice for them, obviously, because when you recognize what was done on the cross, there's something that, like, something almost like changes or like breaks inside of you, because you recognize that not only was somebody willing to do that for you, but it wasn't just somebody. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody can find some useful idiot that they can get to do what they want, but this is not some useful idiot, but this is like the God, the King of the universe, like the Son of God goes and dies like that. So it's like he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew what he was dying for and who he was dying for. So I guess, when you're in that point where you're mocking, I guess, I could be wrong. When I hear somebody is doing that, I agree with you. There's a part of me that's like, yo, but at the same time, there's also a part of me that's mad hopeful, because there's a recognition. That's like you're going out real hard to fight against that, like to fight against what happened there. So I don't know. Like, I guess it kind of gives me a little bit of hope that the person is actually, sometimes it's darkest before the dawn. So, maybe that person is just really spinning out, and they're just popping off and saying all kinds of stuff, and that this is actually, maybe they're closest to the kingdom right now when they look the absolute furthest.
Sure,
I don't
man.
know.
Sure. I'm just saying, me personally, I'm not going to be in a relationship with anybody that goes there. Like, that's because me personally, like I said, where I'm at, I don't see any hope for you whatsoever. And I just don't like being around people. Because to me, like, because, I talked about this, like, it's like I've been surrounded by death since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person, this person, this person, this person, like, and it wasn't, and it's all different. Some of it's gang shit, some of it's the GWAT, some of it is like, so like, to me, like, life and death in this world and the next world are kind of like jumbled. Like, I've never spoken to a person where I don't think about where they're going to be after they die. Not once. There's never been a human being I've looked at, talked to, seen on TV. There's every single person I've ever looked at, like, that is always there. Like, after, eternity, the next world, the next life, whatever people want to call it. And so
always
every single,
so you go in
there's never been a human being I've spoken to. There's never even been an icon of a person on a chat that I haven't thought about that with them. Not once.
I used to always be like that.
So
wait, you go into Pizza Hut, and the person's giving you a hard time, blah blah blah. You're thinking about their eternity when you tune them back out.
100%. And the reason for that is, like, that, me, the vast majority of people that I've come across, I believe, they're going to find their way home. Mm-hmm. So I always say, like, yeah, everybody around me is elect, right? Mm-hmm. But so when a person says something like goes to that length, to me, I'm like, damn. Like,
I don't know what length you're talking about. I literally don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So,
so
maybe if I knew, it would change my picture. I don't know.
It kills my optimism for that person, and I can't.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
I can't bear to look at him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't bear to look at a person where I'm like, yo, you're really gonna hear depart from me, bro. Like he's really gonna fucking send you off, man. And like I can't bear that. So as long as I like have like a .01, that's why like I get along with I can get along with anybody. Like I had a friend who was a Nazi in school and all the rest of it. Like I can get along with anybody and I can overlook a lot of shit. But man, somebody does that, like I'm like, yo. And I can't deal with a person that I have no hope for. I just can't. It's too hard for me. So there you go.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Some of the lyrics on this were pretty poetic. I did not like the sound of the song though. So like a 7.4 for me.
The metal was crazy. The lyrics were crazy. The song accomplished what it needed to accomplish. Like I don't like the song in the sense of liking it, but like as a standalone song, I thought I thought they did a good job. I'm sorry, I thought they did a good job. I really did. Shout out to Cassie B in the house. I'm gonna have to give this a 9.6, man. I'm sorry.
7.4 for me.
The song was just hard as hell, man. Like it was really, really hard, and the lyrics were very provocative. So I really, really enjoyed the song. Shout out to Riv.
River.
Shout out to Riv.
And all right, you guys.
And look, guys, I'm not talking about disagreeing. I'm not talking. I've had conversation with Sadie. Sadie's like, "Yo, this doesn't make sense." I'm not talking about people saying this doesn't make sense. I'm not even talking about this is crazy. I have an issue with people saying, "Why is your God so obsessed with blood?" Like I don't have an issue with any of that. I'm talking about people like going out of their way to just be crazy relative to that issue. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm not talking about people like having legitimate questions. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying it's biblical. I'm just talking about what happens with me internally when those things happen. That's what that.
Yeah.
So to Sori's point, there's nothing in the Bible that says that if you do that, you're going to hell. Although it does say, Paul says, I say this to tears, many are enemies of the cross.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul goes on to call those people dogs. So there's that.
Yeah, again, when the person is in that place.
But he says, I say it with tears though.
Yeah.
And so that's my thing is like, I've got enough people to cry over, bro. Like, I don't want people in my life where I'm like, yo, this person's completely hopeless. So I got enough people to cry over in my life. I don't need that kind of situation. Cause at least if one of my folks is hurt, or something happens with so-and-so, or I'm looking at people right now, and like I've had fights with some of the people here who end up being the closest to, obviously. Like, if I have a fight with Sadie, I can say, okay, Lord, go and, send your spirit, or blah, 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 or whatever. And, when she's doing her little witchcraft shit, whatever, forgive her and love her and all this shit. And I believe with perfect faith, I'm going to see Sadie, Amy, all the rest of it. But, if I ever thought that there was a person with absolutely no hope, where I really did not believe I was going to see them again, like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I just lost too many people. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I mean, I think the majority of the people that come on our stream is going to be there with us. So
I agree.
There's only, I
would be extremely surprised not to see Ben Webb. I would be shocked. I'd be like, yo, where'd Ben at?
Yeah, I was just going to make a joke.
He's going to be the first person. He's one of the first people I asked about. There's people that are my blood, my own family, that I'm going to ask about Ben before them. So, and I'm certain I'm going to see him. If I didn't see him, I'd say, hold on, you must be mistaken. Like, I have so much hope in whatever for so many of my folks. Mm-hmm. But
100%.
That shit, I'm like, But that's why you're around, so you can have all the people that are enemies of the cross. You can go love those people and hang out with them. I am not the patron saint of lost causes, dear listener. Vid out.
Sori out.
Gone. CB, I'm gonna answer that question to you in text.
CD.
You got my number. You got my number, CB. I'm not gonna answer that. There's certain questions I do not answer publicly. For obvious reasons.
Sadie, my mom's cousin said I'm a secret Christian.
My mom's cousin says I'm a secret Christian. Well, there's no such thing as a secret Christian. They weren't martyring Christians in the first century for being secret.
Well, Sadie put her in the freezer, so we don't have to worry about her.
She put her own grandmother in the freezer.
Her mom's cousin.
I bet you don't think that anymore, bitch. All right, we are Christians here. We shall return. I think we have one more song. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Holy smokes, this is bad. This is blasphemous. I don't know what this is.